Welcome back to the Foundry by Forge College. In our previous explainer, we were deep in the trenches, dealing with the heart-pounding process of detecting and triaging exploit indicators. But let's say you've stopped the bleeding. A rather terrifying question pops up. How do you deploy the fix without accidentally breaking your entire system? Today, we are sketching out the blueprints for community governance and upgrade processes. And as we map this out in our classic orange and dark green ink on today's schematic, we are going to figure out exactly how to upgrade smart contracts without breaking a sweat.
So who actually gets to push the final upgrade button? Just imagine this scenario for a second. We found a bug, it's critical. But if Dave from accounting, or even your lead developer, can just unilaterally overwrite the treasury logic at 2 a.m. with zero oversight, well, that God mode is a massive central point of failure. It honestly doesn't matter how secure your code is if the keys to the entire castle are just sitting in one person's pocket.
We really need to shift away from trusting a single person or a single private key. We need to move towards trusting a transparent, community-driven blueprint. True decentralization means the community has a say, and the process is completely predictable. We are replacing that old trust me bro mentality with strict, verifiable procedural mechanics.
Here is our agenda for today's explainer. We will cover escaping admin God mode, the procedural safeguards, the governance lifecycle, simulating the upgrade process, and finally, verifying state invariants.
All right, let's jump straight into Section 1, Escaping Admin God Mode. To properly fix this central point of failure, we need two distinct types of defenses working together. On one side, you have your technical safeguards. These are your access modifiers and core logic that prevent bad math. But on the other side, you absolutely must have procedural safeguards. This means governance, voting, and execution delays. While technical safeguards protect the code itself, procedural safeguards protect the process from human error or a compromised admin key.
Moving right along to Section 2, the procedural safeguards.
The absolute most vital gear in this machinery is the timelock. Think of it as a safety valve. It's kind of like waiting a few days to get a marriage license so you don't do something you might immediately regret. It enforces a mandatory cooling-off period, giving the community actual time to review the upcoming changes or, if needed, hit the emergency brakes and exit the system entirely before the code executes.
Check out how these responsibilities are divided on this table. The governance contract acts as the proposer. The community acts as the voter. But here is the kicker. Neither of them can actually flip the switch. That absolute execution power belongs exclusively to the timelock. It's a brilliant ultimate system of checks and balances.
Now for Section 3, the governance lifecycle.
The upgrade flows sequentially through these four incredibly strict stages. First, someone proposes the upgrade payload. Second, the community casts their votes during an active voting period. If it actually passes, Step 3 is queuing that successful proposal into the timelock. And finally, Step 4, executing the upgrade after the delay has officially passed. By forcing every single change through these stages, we make sure everything is predictable and highly auditable. Notice how time is explicitly drawn right into this timeline. At T0, the proposal is born. At T plus X, the voting period ends. At T plus Y, our QETA is reached. And execution? That only happens at T plus Z. This completely 100% eliminates the risk of a surprise midnight rug pull. Everyone knows exactly when the machinery will move. Okay, on to Section 4, Simulating the Upgrade Process. Here is the game plan for our hands-on simulation. First, we spin up a local deterministic chain using a tool like Hardhat or Foundry. We deploy our version 1 proxy implementation. Then we submit the V2 upgrade payload to our governance contract. After that, we artificially cast our community votes to reach a quorum, push the approved proposal into the timelock, artificially advance the clock on our local node, and finally, we hit execute. The really crucial point here is that this process is technically enforced at the contract level. During your simulation, if you try to take a shortcut, say if anyone, even the original deployer, tries to bypass the timelock and deploy the upgrade directly, the smart contract simply rejects it. It will instantly revert. The timelock acts as the absolute, unbribable gatekeeper.
Finally, Section 5, verifying state invariants.
Once the simulation runs, we have to check our state invariants. We need to be absolutely sure that while the underlying logic upgraded from version 1 to version 2, all that critical structural data, things like the owner address and most importantly, user balances, remained perfectly intact. Basically, we swapped out the engine, but we made double sure we didn't lose any of the cargo.
To be absolutely certain, we run through this final audit checklist. Did the proposal-created event fire correctly? Did the votes actually meet the math required for quorum? Does the call-scheduled event match the timelock's ETA? And most importantly, was the execution transaction signed exclusively by the timelock contract? Checking these off confirms the structural integrity of our proxy held up perfectly under the pressure of governance.
Getting this procedural workflow down is a major milestone. But make sure you keep these artifacts handy, because our next explainer will integrate this exact governance lifecycle into even more complex multi-contract architecture patterns like diamonds and modular managers. We are building the real foundations for serious Web3 engineering here.
So take a hard look at your own contracts and ask yourself, is leaving God mode enabled a feature, or is it a ticking time bomb? Are you driven by transparent community consensus yet? To master these procedural safeguards, get your hands dirty with real code simulations and explore a massive library of other Web3 topics. I highly encourage you to visit forge.college and keep building. Thanks for joining me on this explainer by Forge College, and I will see you in the next one.